To be a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. To protect your brother, even from himself. To give support at your own expense. And when wearing the black and gold suit of armor, make sure nobody desecrates it, disrespects it. Most importantly, we ourselves don't dishonor it. From previous legends who have donned the black and gold. These virtues I learned while playing for the Steelers are what make the legacy of the black and gold timeless. They are passed down in the locker room from the steel curtain to anyone who valiantly wears the black and gold. Creating a brotherhood that is deeper than money, business, and winning. To be a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. This is our culture, Steeler culture.
Now, here are your hosts, Rob and Dan, the Steel Twins.
What's going on, guys? Steel Twins coming back at you with episode 45 of the Steeler Culture Podcast on this Thursday afternoon. Thank you guys for tuning in as we are live, and we are going to be doing a special discussion right here with the Steelers 2023 rookies.
Yes, we have an interesting episode of the Steeler Culture Podcast for you guys. Something we've been wanting to do since the offseason pretty much hit. But because of all the OC news and the OC interviews, which was just 3 of them, they kind of had to be put on the back burner a little bit. But might as well talk about it now since the OC position is unofficially filled. There's no announcement from the Steelers yet, but Arthur Smith is expected to be the new Steelers OC. So with that behind us now, we can now focus on the actual offseason, on the moves the Steelers are going to have to make, and of course the draft coming up, which is one of the more exciting times of the entire offseason. But before we get into this upcoming draft, before we get into the Steelers 2024 draft and the mock drafts coming out, we got to talk about last year's draft class, which is already looking very promising. It's looking great. I would say the future is looking pretty bright already.
Yeah, coming out of the draft when it was initially finished and the type of moves that Omar Khan did and how aggressive he was throughout the whole draft process, draft weekend, and just looking at a talent standpoint and where they were selected and what Omar Khan did and who we got. Initially, I mean, on paper, it looked fantastic. It looked great. On a talent scale, it looked to be the most complete and best draft in recent memory for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, in a long time, man. In terms of a value and talent, look at it. Yeah, it's far and away our best draft class in a while. Omar Khan hit a home run in his first draft class, and these rookies showed you that, yes, they are going to make this draft class one of the best, and they have the potential to make it one of the best. And I would say that some of these rookies, if not all of them, were the best at their respective positions.
Looking back at last season, yes, the guys that were diamonds in the rough, I would say, that were really standouts were, of course, the rookies.
Yes.
Like, they were exceptional when they had playing time on the field, when they got starts in there eventually.
And it took a while for them to actually see time on the playing field. It did.
Yeah, we were preaching, especially earlier on to the season. It's like, these guys aren't doing their job. You got to get these guys that you selected, that you drafted for the future, to get them in there. It took them a bit of time. They were stubborn with it. Eventually, after the bye week, they finally got these guys in the starting lineup, and the rookies were able to showcase what they were able to do.
Yes, they actually started getting more playing time, started making plays. And I'd say, man, yes, the 2023 Steelers season had its highs. It definitely had its lows, but a big reason for some of our greatest highs this season had a lot to do with our rookies. And that's a big praise on them. That's a big prop to them because, I mean, like I said, the future is looking bright. And today we're going to be grading pretty much all the rookies outside of the final two, which is Corey Trice and Spencer Anderson. Obviously, I didn't see any playing time, so you can't really grade them, but we're going to grade pretty much the main five.
Yeah.
The first five selections, which, I mean, are just looking like home run selections already.
After the first year, yeah.
Yes, so it's looking really, really, really good. So we're going to grade the Steelers rookies individually, and we're going to grade the Steelers rookie class just after their first year.
Yeah.
You can't really grade the class after only 1 year, but if I'm going to grade the class after their rookie seasons, then we're going to do that, and we're going to do it with you guys in the chat. We want to make this a live stream, to make this interactive with you guys, to get a poll in there, see your guys' opinions on these guys' respective rookie classes and your guys' opinions on their grades. So we're going to get into that. First, we got to go all the way down the list.
From the later rounds to, obviously, the first round. That's how we're going to do it here.
Yeah, so instead of from first to the fourth round, between the selections of Broderick and Nick Herbig, we're going to go from Nick Herbig down to Broderick.
Yeah.
So, Rob, go ahead and give your opinion on Nick Herbig and your guys' grades.
Well,
as I put a poll in the chat for you guys.
Well, with Nick Herbig, when it came to him, he played all 17 games, no starts though, and it's not hard to see why.
Yeah, why would he start?
Yeah, but 17 games, he had only 191 snaps total on defense.
How many?
191. That's kind of low.
That's not enough.
That's kind of low, and I agree, it wasn't enough. But within those snaps that he got, he was able to obtain 27 total tackles, 5 tackles for losses, 3 QB hits, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery.
Wow. And that was just in 191 snaps.
Yes.
That's impressive.
I would have loved to have seen him get more snap counts in his rookie year. I can understand why they exactly didn't, because of Watt and Highsmith. They're 2 of your top pass rushers. Marcus Golden was the veteran backup. He was more so the third string than Nick Herbig was. So I can understand why they were kind of hesitant on getting him out there. But even in limited snaps, you've seen what Herbig was able to do and what he potentially could do down the road.
Well, you also saw what he did in preseason. Now, I know a lot of us Steelers fans, ourselves included, really overhyped everything that happened in the preseason. Kenny Pickett. But Nick Herbig was easily, far and away, the biggest winner of preseason. And you knew he was going to be a stud just based on what he did in very limited snaps in the preseason as well.
Like his brother calls him, stud.
Yeah, I mean, but you see what Nick Herbig did. He's going to be a great rotational piece. I think he can be a very significant object for this defense. Maybe object isn't the best word, but I'd say a rotational piece, but more so like a vocal point. I think we can really see a lot more playing time from Nick Herbig in year 2. He deserves it. He needs to play it. He's only going to continue to refine his art, his craft as a pass rusher, especially working alongside fellow Wisconsin alumni TJ Watt, who's already taken him under his wing. I mean, Nick Herbig's a stud. He's an absolute stud. He even made plays in special teams. So, I mean, this guy just makes plays no matter where you ask him, but I think he needs more pass rush reps on the defense. Hell, even in Seattle, one of his few sacks this season in Seattle, he only had 2 snaps versus Seattle. One of them was a strip sack.
Yeah, a crucial one at that. I believe it was actually the only sack in that game, or maybe the only turnover.
Yeah.
Maybe the only turnover, and that was crucial for the Steelers.
Yeah.
For the Steelers offense to take advantage, and that's what they did.
Yeah, that's very significant from Nick Herbig, man. If I had to give him a grade, I'm going to give him a solid B, only because he didn't get enough snaps. That's not really his fault. But in the limited snaps, I think he definitely deserved a grade of a solid B, man. And with more playing time to come, as we all hope, I mean, he's definitely going to continue to be one hell of a steal in the 4th round, man. We even traded back into the 4th round and still got this guy.
Yeah, he was able to fall towards our pick. So I would have to agree. A B, I think, is a solid grade for a solid rookie year, even in limited snaps.
I almost want to give him a B+ because he was so good in limited time. But
you could do that, yeah.
because of the limited time, I don't want to give him a great high grade. So I'll give him a good B to start.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree with that. But I do think Herbig's going to be a nice asset on the defense if they give him more playing time, if they get him in with more pass rush reps, even as a run stopper, he shows what he can do.
Right.
I'm excited for Nick Herbig and his future.
And the majority of the chat agrees. 50%, they say they give him a B. So, Nick Herbig, one hell of a rookie year. Didn't see a lot of playing time, but already showed you, hey, he deserves more playing time. He's looking like a stud of a 4th-round selection. Now let's get on to Darnell Washington, who was our last pick of day 2, our last pick of the 3rd round.
And another guy that, just like the 4th rounder when we traded back into the 3rd round, and he still somehow managed to fall to our selection. What was it, pick 93?
And he was getting a lot of hype coming out of Georgia, coming out of the combine with his size, his blocking ability, and even his underrated vertical threat, which the Steelers do not utilize a lot. I don't know if they will, especially with Arthur Smith.
But a guy...
He does like to use a lot of 12 personnel.
Yes.
A lot of double tight end sets, so maybe Washington will be inserting the offense a little more.
But Darnell, with how big he is, he showcases athleticism. Without a doubt.
Yes.
When it comes to Darnell, he had 17 games played, 6 starts. Some of them were because of Muth being out with injury earlier in the season. 511 snaps, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 61 yards. Again, very limited in the passing game. Hardly saw him.
As was expected.
Yeah, so, we all knew when we selected him, he's primarily going to be a blocking tight end, and he's a good one at that.
Yes, he's a very good one. He definitely had his highs. He definitely had his lows in the blocking scheme.
He wasn't a perfect blocking tight end. He definitely had his miscues where he was beaten.
But he's far and away our best blocking tight end in a while.
No question.
He's a big body. He's a people mover. He'll even take down some of the best pass rushers in the league. That's how dominant this guy is as a blocker. He's very good, and that's exactly why the Steelers drafted him. And with them still continuing to run the football, especially with this Arthur Smith hiring, he's only going to continue to see more blocking reps. He's only going to continue to see more snaps in the offense. And you notice, even when Muth came back, he was still seeing very similar snap counts and similar percentage counts on the offensive snaps.
Yeah.
And that's mostly due to the Steelers running a lot of 12 personnel, a lot of 2 tight end sets, which was equated to them running the football. But that's not going to change. But you do see that he's still going to be inserted a lot on this offense. And yes, I think we could utilize him more as a vertical threat, especially in the red zone. The guy's 6'7", 6'8". He's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's massive. We got to utilize that size. But as a blocker, he was very well. He was a lead block for Najee and Warren in many cases, helping create the lane, get through the gaps, and they were just breaking away for very long runs, some of our best runs of the season.
Yeah.
So big credit to Darnell Washington on a very solid rookie season. Because he was only a blocker, and that was mainly it, we're going to give him a grade of a C. I'd even say a C+.
I would give him a C+.
Yes.
As a blocking tight end, he was a stud at that. Like you said, without a doubt, our best blocking tight end. Receiving ability is very underrated. I still consider his receiving ability to be underrated.
There is
I do get why they don't use it, because his blocking is his best trait, is his best technique. And Muth and Hayward are by far the better receiving ability or receiving threat at the tight end position.
Well, you also noticed we didn't utilize our tight ends in receiving game.
Yeah, exactly.
We only did that
That's
one
another
game.
part.
One game.
That's another aspect of that. But
maybe Arthur Smith can change that. We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Maybe. But no, Darnell had a very good rookie year. Primarily as a blocking tight end, C+, I would give him that. I think that's another solid grade for Darnell. And I do look forward to see how he continues his progression. Maybe we get him blocking more alongside Broderick Jones, his old Georgia Bulldog teammate.
And
get the Bulldogs together.
And no, not on the right side.
No, we got to get him on the left. We got to get them on the left. I think that's their best. That's their best comfortable spot.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get all the way down to Broderick. But Darnell, man, I think there's still a lot of unknown with his passing game, with his receiving ability. And I say that because I think there's a lot of excitement there. So perhaps, like I said, with Arthur Smith, I'll give him this. He might be able to incorporate that, especially with the play action and the 2 tight end sets he loves to run. He's run that a lot.
And that's what they're going to focus at.
So perhaps we do see more of that upside with Washington. But his rookie year, I mean, I can't say he was terrible. He was not.
No.
He was not. He was a hell of a blocker. He's a stud there. He's almost a mountain of a blocker. So
Yeah, Bigfoot is like what? That's my nickname to him. That's what I like to call him.
I like
Bigfoot.
that. Bigfoot.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's a big guy with rare athleticism for his size.
Yeah, dude, seriously. Most of the chat agrees. They give him a C. 45% say a C. Now let's move on to Keeanu Benton.
Yeah, Big Bully Benton, the triple B, baby.
I like that.
Keeanu Benton, 17 games played, 9 starts. Some of them were when Cam Hayward was out, especially earlier in the year. I believe Hayward missed 6 games, actually. 484 snaps on the defensive line, though. 36 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 8 QB hits, 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 passes defended.
Right, but what was most impressive about Keeanu Benton was the constant pressure he got to the quarterback. He only got 1 sack this year. And I would say limited reps. I do say that because we'll go over the snap counts and the reps from most of the 3 starters initially heading into the season.
Yeah.
But what was most impressive about Benton, and you've seen that in preseason as well, the guy just knows how to disrupt the line. He knows how to just get to the quarterback.
Yeah, at the line of scrimmage, he is an absolute disruptor.
He knows how to...
He's a beast.
He knows how to cause havoc inside the pocket or behind the line of scrimmage. It's impressive. And because of that, I would say he was arguably our best defensive lineman all season. Over Hayward, who was hurt, over Ogunjobi, who was battling injuries, and same thing with Adams. I'd say he was definitely our best defensive lineman. And it sucks because I don't think he got enough playing time. I think he deserved more. What we keep saying and what he needs to be in the future is a 3-down defender. He does.
He has that potential. I believe Terrell Austin even said that, if I'm not mistaken. He said something along the lines like that, like the guy.
He's more than just a 2-down defender.
Yes.
He's more than just a rotational piece. They see 3-down potential, like Cameron Hayward. Now, they weren't going to rush him that way in his rookie year because he's a rookie and because of the contracts they're paying and because of the guys and the experience they had in the defensive line group initially before Benton came in. But he still deserves more playing time. But he was such a disruptor. He was great. His swim and chop moves was very evident. Anytime you saw Benton, the tackles for loss is up there. The way he just disrupts behind the line of scrimmage. The guy's a stud. I see a lot of Javon Hargrave in this guy. We said this when we drafted him, before we drafted him.
Yeah, when we were scouting him, like this guy brings Javon Hargrave-esque type of playing ability.
This guy is an absolute stud. He really is. Now, I want to get into the snap counts. Like Rob stated, Keeanu Benton only had 484 snaps. Now, if we're going to compare between the 3 other defensive linemen, which is Cam Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, and Montravius Adams, Larry Ogunjobi led the defensive line group with 767 snaps.
Yeah, so when Hayward went down, they for the most part, they pretty much leaned on him to be that guy to step up.
Yeah,
which obviously he's alongside Hayward, and they're paying him this much money.
And he was averaging anywhere from 50 all the way down to 39 snaps a game.
Yeah.
He was seeing a lot of percentage of the defense. Same thing with a Montravius Adams before he got hurt and before Keeanu Benton was listed as a starter over Adams in the second half of the season. Montravius Adams had 416 snaps. So he had less than Benton, and that's also due to injury from Adams, but also, again, Benton was listed as a starter over Adams later in the season. But you notice, if you look at the snap counts early in the season compared to Benton, Adams was listed as a starter, and he was getting a great majority of the snaps.
Yeah.
At least percentage-wise. He was getting anywhere from 50 all the way up to 80% of the defensive snap counts. Benton, in that time, was getting anywhere from 43 down to 47.
Yeah.
So not as much as Montravius Adams. And that's because Benton was treated as a rotational piece. Understandably so, you want to get his feet wet. When Cameron Hayward, he was hurt from week 2 all the way down to week 7. He didn't come back till after the bye. So in that time, of course, Ogunjobi saw more playing time, and so did Montravius Adams. And if you look at Benton's snap count, his snap count didn't really increase in that time. They really leaned a lot on Ogunjobi, who saw the majority of it, as well as Adams.
Yeah.
But when Adams got hurt around, I think it was the Titans game. I think it was in the Titans game he got hurt, and then he was inactive the next 4. That is when Benton started to see more playing time, and his snap count went from anywhere from 43% up to 47%, up from 65%.
Yeah.
Like, he saw a lot more playing time. And this was also around the time Cameron Hayward was coming back from that injury, because Hayward came back just around the Titans game.
Mm-hmm.
So you see that Benton was absolutely seeing more playing time, and a lot of that had to do with he was listed as a starter over Adams. And, of course, they kept leaning on Ogunjobi. Even though Ogunjobi was always on the injury report, he was still seeing the majority of the playing time. But I just think Keeanu Benton really deserved more snaps.
Yeah.
But in the snaps he did, man, again, in my opinion, he looked like the best defensive lineman out there. He was just a havoc. He's looking like a hell of a selection. And in year 2, with a year under his belt, he definitely should see a lot more playing time. He should see, I would say, like I said, three downs. He deserves it. Especially with Cameron Hayward, he is coming back. He already shut down the retirement talk. He's going to need to take a massive pay cut, or an extension should be coming. We'll discuss that when we discuss the cap casualties shortly. Same thing with Ogunjobi. He's going to have to take a cap reducement as well.
Mm-hmm.
That could entitle Keeanu Benton to see a lot more playing time.
Yeah, and Tomlin at the end of season press conference he was very vocal about Benton, and he praised Benton, of course, and pretty much said that he feels like he could be a disruptor sooner rather than later.
He already is.
Yeah.
He already is. I'd say Benton made an immediate impact. Like, truthfully, he looked very impressive out there.
Yeah.
And because of that, Keeanu Benton, in my opinion, gets a grade of B+. I'd give him an A if he got more snaps and got to show more playing time. But in my opinion, he gets a B+. Because you notice in some of our weak points on the defense or on our team, defensive line was still one of them, and that was particularly due to the injuries and the age that we have at that group. Benton, man, despite all that, was still very positive in that group. Where we saw some negative there, we saw some inconsistencies, he was still a highlight in that area.
Yeah.
So shout out to Keeanu Benton. I think he had a very good rookie year. Could have been greater if he got more playing time. But, you know, I think Adams is a free agent. He might be walking, so that could mean more playing time, more opportunity for Benton. Hayward's getting older. He can't play the snaps he used to.
Yeah.
Same thing with Ogunjobi.
Yeah, of course.
This tells me Benton should absolutely be a 3-down guy and should see a majority of the snaps.
Yeah, and with his age, him pretty much being the youngster at an aging defensive line, he's a guy that for the future you could really rebuild that defensive line around.
Yeah.
He has that potential. I think he already showcased it with how young he is in his rookie year. I would have to agree with the B+ grade. If he got more snaps, I would have given him an A, but because of the limited amount of snaps that they gave him, even in some starts they limited him to a degree, but
and that's mostly due to our system, our defensive system.
Yeah, that's just how they work with the 3-4 defense and defensive line.
Yeah,
you know, they go with rotations like crazy.
Yeah, it keeps them fresh. I mean, they're not going to run these guys to 3 downs all game, but I think he deserves more opportunities in those snaps.
I do think he has the potential.
Yes.
So,
but Keeanu Benton, yeah, we give him a B+. The chat gives him an A. It's a 3-way tie between an A and a B, 48% even.
I mean, I can see why people say that. I mean, the guy was a disruptor. The guy was very good when he was out there.
I can say for sure Keeanu Benton is going to be an absolute stud. I am confident in saying that. I put money on it.
Yeah.
He's going to be a gem. He's going to be a great piece to this defense. He already showed that in his rookie season. Now, once this guy continues to grow and adapt, I mean, we're looking at an absolute game wrecker in Keeanu Benton.
Mm-hmm.
I feel very confident in saying that. I'm very excited about Keeanu Benton's future. So one hell of a rookie season for him, man. Now, let's talk about, of course, the obvious. JPJ.
Joey Porter Jr.
Joey Porter Jr., man.
Peasy's son, Peasy Jr., whatever you want to call him.
Right.
JPJ.
And I'm going to put a poll in the chat for you guys. It's not going to be the similar A, B, C, D grade because you're not giving JPJ a C or even a D. You're not. You're not. So I will put grading Joey Porter Jr.'s
Rookie season.
I will put A+, A-, minus,
Yeah, get it right.
an A,
And I just got to say here,
or B.
Omar Khan,
That's how high he was.
Omar Khan, man, talk about a steal. Talk about a steal. We traded that guy, Chase Claypool, for this dude. Wow. Man,
Straight up.
What about finessing?
Straight up.
What about finessing the Bears and Ryan Poles, man?
Straight up.
Wow.
Chase Claypool for Joey Porter Jr. It's already looking like one of our best trades in franchise history, man.
That's all because once Omar Khan was in office, he could not wait to get rid of Claypool.
No, he couldn't. He really couldn't wait to get rid of this guy. That's such a one-sided trade. And Joey Porter Jr. has already showed in 1 year, his rookie season, when they wouldn't start him until after the bye week.
Yeah.
This guy's a fucking stud.
This guy is already locked down.
He is.
He's making Uncle Ike proud.
Yeah, dude. He's making his daddy proud, bro. Let me tell you. He is clamps, as what people say nowadays.
Yeah.
He's that good, man. And even in spots, even in games or plays where he did allow receptions, there was not one point where I said, man, he is way out of coverage. He is sticky. I can't say that.
He's
man,
like glue.
It's like when you watch our defense last year, you watch our secondary, you see these big games, these big receptions from our
Especially
other guys.
earlier in the year with Wallace and Peterson just getting into the midst of things. Yes.
Guys like that. You notice that they were way behind, way away from the receiver. Joey Porter Jr., never once did I see he was out of that position. He was always sticky. He was always around the receiver and always around the football. This guy is lockdown, man. He's going to be a stud. He's going to be great. I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to give him an A-. Not an A+. I'm going to give him an A-, mainly because of the penalties. That does affect. That does come in, and he's going to have to work on that. That's his biggest issue is the penalties.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think the penalties are very fixable.
Very fixable.
When he first came in, another thing that was very evident was his missed tackles. But very quickly, he was able to fix all that.
I mean, his dad got wind of that. He said, "No, this ain't happening."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're a reporter. You got to tackle. So
like, you're not gonna miss a tackle.
So
you're my son. Like,
so he fixed on that, but he still had his issues when it came to the penalties, whether it was holding, pass interference, whatever it was. I mean, he's a sticky guy, but he can be a bit handsy at times. Right. I think that's fixable. I think he can fix that. But outside of that, I mean, the guy was the best defensive back on the team.
Oh, easily. Oh my God.
Without question. I mean, the guy's getting recognition for Defensive Rookie of the Year, which is great.
He's not going to win it, but the fact that he's going to be nominated in the NFL honors this Thursday is incredible.
That's great recognition. He's already making his father proud. He's making the Porter name proud already in his rookie season.
Yeah, dude.
I have no doubt he's going to continue it. Yeah. I am confident in that.
Yeah, Joey Porter Jr. was locked down this year. I mean, the injuries is something to be concerned about heading into his second year. But I think he's going to grow on that. He's already grown on the tackling issue. Like, that was a non-issue in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
I think he'll grow on the penalties. But Joey Porter Jr. is just a sticky coverage guy. He's always getting near the football. I think he had 10 passes defended this year.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, before I forget, let me get into the statistic here for JPJ. 17 games, 11 starts, 807 snaps.
Wow.
43 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 10 passes defended, and 1 interception, which came in against the Baltimore Ravens.
There was only one other corner that had more snaps than JPJ, and that was obviously Patrick Peterson with over 1,000. Almost 1,011.
Yeah.
1,100, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, 807 snaps. I mean, I still don't think it was enough because he should have been on the field a lot sooner. And perhaps it would have saved us a lot of havoc against guys like Nico Collins and fucking Brandon Ayuk.
But that was way early into the season.
I know.
And you knew the Steelers weren't going to throw him into the fire,
But
although they probably should have.
That's their problem. You see all these other great draft classes, like the Lions, for instance. They couldn't wait to play their rookies. They couldn't wait.
Yeah, remember week 1, Brian Branch got an interception on Pat Mahomes?
Yeah.
Like, he made an immediate impact in week 1.
Yeah.
The season opener.
You look at the Texans. They didn't shy away from playing their rookies.
No, absolutely not.
And they have a.
You think they were going to throw Davis Mills out there?
Yeah, no.
No. They got C.J. Stroud. They're going to throw him in there. The guy's ready.
No.
The guy's ready to go.
No, Joey Porter Jr. I mean, I get why they wanted to sit him for a couple weeks, and perhaps that was a good thing. Let's not pretend that it wasn't. It was probably a good thing, but
I mean, deep down, yes.
But he was far and away our best cover corner, and I can't help but think, man, why don't we play him sooner? But when he played, he was a stud. In fact, we got individual stats of him against certain receivers down the stretch of the season. This is how good Joey Porter Jr. was. And I even got some stats of the guys he went up against. and what their finish stats were in that very game. This just shows you how great Joey Porter Jr. is. This also shows you, man, we really need a cornerback too. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Joey Porter Jr., man, his first real great matchup he saw, and he didn't start until I think it was week 8 versus the Jags.
Yeah.
But his first real matchup he really saw in limited playing time was against Devontae Adams in week 3 versus the Raiders on Monday night, I think it was.
That's when we really started to see the first bit of glimpses of what JPJ was capable of.
Yes.
Even in limited snap count, he was able to be going up against Devontae Adams, and he held his own. And this is Devontae Adams we're talking about.
I know, and Devontae Adams finished the game with 172 yards and 2 touchdowns, which both touchdowns were allowed by, guess who? Levi Wallace.
Yeah.
But against Devontae Adams, when Joey Porter Jr. went up against Devontae, he allowed only 1 catch for 12 yards off of 3 targets. In limited time, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Week 5 versus the Ravens, which is when he really kind of made himself known already on the defense, and that the Steelers really need to play this guy. It was week 5. He made one of the best plays of the entire season. Right before our bye week, we were trying to get a win versus the Ravens.
Yeah.
Darnell Washington, who's no longer with the team, thank God, fumbled the ball on a punt return. It looked like the Ravens were going to take advantage and score and finish this game.
Seal the deal.
Joey Porter Jr. said, hold my beer. Fuck this shit. I'm going to intercept Lamar Jackson in the end zone against OBJ.
And I'm going to put my stamp in the Steelers-Ravens rivalry. And that's what he did.
Like that. Like that.
In the end zone.
And he saved the game. He gave us an opportunity to come back, in which we did.
Because of that, that's how the Steelers were able to win that first matchup.
And then, obviously, week 6 was our bye, so week 7 came up a very interesting and anticipated matchup versus the Rams against the hottest rookie of the season, Puka Nacua, who was going off and continued to go off.
We couldn't stop him.
Past week 7.
We could not stop. Nobody could stop him.
No, Puka Nacua finished with 154 yards.
Yeah.
And most of that was against Levi Wallace. Go figure. And Patrick Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure.
And I'm not sure if you mentioned it. You might have did, but again, JPJ didn't start this game.
No, he didn't.
But this is when he really started seeing an increased amount of snaps and reps on the defense,
and
starting defense.
And against Puka Nacua, where he saw some time against him, he saw some good time, as a matter of fact. He only allowed 1 catch for 22 yards off of 4 targets, while Puka finished with 154 against the rest of our defense.
And that's rookie on rookie right there.
That is, if it wasn't a quarterback league, we are looking at the rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year. Like, it's astonishing.
Yeah.
Like, against the rookie that was lighting up the league at that point and continued to do so afterward, Joey Porter Jr. locked down Puka that entire game. He was the only guy that could. We still won that game, but, man, Puka was shredding our defense. Not against Joey Porter Jr.
No.
And that remained a stance throughout the entire defense. This guy was put the clamps on any number 1 that they threw at him. Versus Calvin Ridley versus the Jags in week 8. His first career start, which is when he finally started, and he would start every single game afterward. Took him to week 8. Took a long time.
Yeah. That felt like it. That's for sure.
It was a long time, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But against Calvin Ridley, he only allowed 2 catches for 20 yards off of 4 targets. Ridley finished the game with 83 yards. Now, we lost that game, but you see, man, he was clamping a guy like Calvin Ridley, who had a great first year back after his suspension in his first year with the Jags.
Yeah.
His first career start, and he held down Calvin Ridley very nicely. The next week, he followed against DeAndre Hopkins, who's a future Hall of Famer. He had 1,000 yards with the Titans quarterback situation this year, right?
Yeah.
Before the game, Joey Porter Jr. asked, I think it was Tomlin and Terrell Austin, he asked them, hey, wherever D-Hop goes, I go. He wanted to follow D-Hop no matter where he was.
And he wanted to test himself.
And that's not like the Steelers defense, where they typically keep their corners on their respective sides. They never move them around. They never move the number 1 corner with the number 1 receiver. They like to just keep their corners on their sides. Joey Porter Jr., thankfully, was not like that versus the Titans.
No, he said
followed
he said, screw that. I want to cover DeAndre. I want to cover this guy. I want to test myself.
And according to Next Gen Stats, he lined up against D-Hop on 26 of 36 routes and aligned in press coverage on 20 of those routes. he only limited DeAndre Hopkins to 1 catch for 17 yards off of 5 targets.
And this was the game that really put JPJ on the map.
Yes.
For sure.
Because it was prime time. It was against D-Hop. And he really made his case right then and there.
Yeah.
And especially after this game, we're thinking, why didn't this guy play any sooner? It's just, thank God they put him in when they did, and he was able to limit the number 1 receivers. He even continued in Week 12 versus Jamar Chase, which I believe was the first game without Canada, where we got 400 yards for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't get the points we wanted, but Joey Porter Jr. played a big part in still limiting Jake Browning and that Bengals offense. Versus Jamar Chase, who only allowed 2 catches for 36 yards on 2 targets. And T. Higgins wasn't playing in that game.
No.
Jamar Chase couldn't step up against JPJ. He couldn't. The defense was very good in that game. And JPJ was another great showing against a number 1 receiver who I think he finished the season with 1,200 yards. Jamar Chase is one of the best receivers in the league, one of the biggest guys to come out of college and just burst onto the scene. And that's what he did with Jamar Chase, who he's going to continue to see year after year as he remains a Bengal.
And not only just Jamar Chase in the first matchup, but the second matchup against T. Higgins, Week 16.
And Jamar Chase didn't play versus the Steelers in Week 16.
No. So Higgins was, of course, the number 1 for that game. And according to Next Gen Stats, he shadowed Higgins on 32 of the 40 routes that Higgins ran, limiting him to only 1 reception for 15 yards. You guys got to keep in mind that Higgins finished the game with 140 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, most of it was that big catch and run, that yak yardage that was outside of Joey Porter's zone. He went up the middle of the field. That's where the majority of his yards were, but that still showed against T. Higgins, who was playing the number 1 role in that game where he blew the Bengals out. He still shadowed him.
Only 1 catch.
He shadowed both of the Bengals receivers when they had to play number 1s. That's impressive. In fact, that excites the fuck out of me.
Yeah, it does.
Knowing that he's gonna have to continue to go up against those guys. I think Higgins is a free agent. He might go elsewhere, but nonetheless, he's gonna have to go up against guys like that in our division. That's exactly what the fuck we want.
Yeah.
Against the high-powered offense in the Bengals, I know they didn't have Burrow, but even then, with Burrow out, Browning was still going.
Yeah, they
nice.
still had a strong passing attack.
They did. And that's what Joey Porter Jr. was able to do against rivals. That's impressive. That's what we can continue to expect. Love that shit, man.
Yeah.
And Joey Porter Jr. doing that against the Bengals, knowing who his damn daddy is. I mean, come on, man. That just brings a smile to my fucking face.
It does.
Goddamn. And his biggest test of the season, arguably, was Week 17 versus DK Metcalf. And according to Next Gen Stats, he covered DK on 26 of 32 routes and allowed 3 catches for 86 yards off of 6 targets. DK was the only wide receiver to gain over 40 yards on JPJ this year. The only one. But you consider only 1 receiver got 40-plus yards on JPJ out of how many weeks? Out of how many games?
Yeah.
Holy shit. And the best part of all this, he didn't allow 1 touchdown.
0.
Not 1.
0.
Holy shit, man. That's fucking impressive. Like, it's been a while since we've had a true lockdown cornerback. I'd say since Joe Hayden. When Joe Hayden just came to the Steelers.
Yeah, when we first brought him in, absolutely. Without a doubt.
Right.
And JPJ in his rookie year was a standout, a stud, a great player on that defense.
He's going to be an absolute elite player for this defense. I truly feel that.
Yeah.
Once he fixes up the penalty issue, I think it'll be a non-issue. I think he's just going to continue to grow. Lockdown receivers be that true number 1 lockdown piece. He's not going to be a guy that's going to get a lot of turnovers. He's going to be very much like the number he's wearing. He's going to be very much like Ike Taylor.
And that's all I ask. All I ask is a guy to shadow these big-name wide receivers.
Because if we want to put Minka back in his natural spot, he can make the turnovers up top. We got the pass rush that can get to him if they want to be consistent.
Yeah.
Like, we got the guys that can make the plays. We just need someone to hold down these receivers so we're not allowing breakout games like Levi Wallace did to Ayuk and Nico Collins and Puka Nacua and God knows how many else.
Yeah. Like everybody else, they can get turnovers. And listen, JPJ gets a turnover, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
That's an extra bonus. But as long as he's doing his job as that lockdown, as that shutdown press corner, that's all I ask for.
Yeah.
And that's what we got.
That's exactly what he did, man. So massive props to JPJ. Easily our best rookie all season.
Rookie of the year for the Steelers.
Rookie
no
of
doubt.
the year, absolutely. 100%. And we give him an A-, only because of those penalties. But that I think I have full confidence he's going to clean that up.
Yeah, the penalties, again, were, I'd say, a headache, but I think they're fixable. I think he can clean those up.
It was a minor thorn in the ass. That's what it was.
Hence the minus right there.
Yes.
But it's a minor thing. I consider it a minor thing.
Right.
I think JPJ can clean it up.
But the chat, 42% gives him an A+. I don't disagree with you guys.
Neither do I. I mean, JPJ was great.
Yeah, JPJ is clamps, man. He's a lockdown guy. True lockdown potential is JPJ, man. What a selection. What a steal at pick 32.
He fell all the way to 32. When he was projected to be, pick 15 or pick top 20.
And he played better than some guys that were selected ahead of him, especially the Commanders.
Emmanuel Forbes. Yeah.
Devin Witherspoon, I would say, is the better corner. He was the best corner coming out of that entire draft class. So, and plus, he's so much more versatile with Seattle's defense and what he was able to do in the blitz packages.
Yeah.
He's locked down as well. So, yeah, Witherspoon's better than JPJ, but that's no knots on JPJ. JPJ is great.
He's still great on his own right.
And I'd say he was arguably up there with Christian Gonzalez before Gonzalez went down in terms of lockdown potential.
Yeah.
So that's just how good Joey Porter Jr. was. And for him to drop was an absolute great case, great steal for us. And thank God Khan traded Claypool for this guy. What a one-sided affair right there.
Yep.
So massive props on Khan, massive props on JPJ for what's going to be one hell of a piece for this defense, man. Shout out to Joey Porter Jr.
And shout out to the Bears. Thank you.
Shout out to the Bears, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Bears.
Hey, can we have Justin Fields? I'm just saying. We'll give you a third rounder next year. I think that's fair.
Hey, what about Jalen Johnson? Can you let him walk? Can you let him walk?
Hey, I like
Come
that
on,
idea
JPJ,
better.
Jalen Johnson.
I like that idea better, and they would both be at the hands of the fucking Bears. The Bears.
Yes. Steelers were interested in Jalen. They were aggressive in trying to trade for him.
They almost got him.
So when it comes to free agency, they're going to look at him again. They're going to look down his tunnel again.
I know this is like free agent talk, and that's definitely to come in the coming weeks. But my bad feeling is he will get tagged.
I mean, the Bears are not going to let. I mean, the Steelers were aggressive. They were willing to give up high draft pick, and the Bears still said no.
Yeah.
So that goes to show you how important that he is to the Bears.
Yeah,
and what they're trying to build over there.
Poles is going to want to keep him, but hopefully.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
Never know.
Never know.
Now we got to get to the first pick of this draft class, the first round selection at pick 14, where we traded up from 17 to 14 in front of the Jets.
And thank God we did.
Thanks to Bill Belichick for being petty to the Jets.
He wanted to fuck the Jets.
Why not?
I mean, who doesn't? Who likes the Jets? I don't.
Well, didn't the Jets get the last laugh because they beat him in his last game as a Patriot?
Yeah, that's true.
Who cares, man? We got Broderick Jones for it. I don't care about all that information.
Yeah,
we got Broderick Jones.
We traded up to number 14 for Broderick Jones. Broderick Jones in 17 games had 11 starts. One was that his first career start was at left tackle in the Ravens game. Absolutely perfect in that game.
He was a stud.
Lockdown, shutdown, like a brick wall.
Well, I think I read it was 37 or 38 pass protection reps. He only allowed one single pressure.
That's it.
One.
That's it.
At left tackle because Dan Moore got hurt the week prior.
Yeah. But then I think it was the Titans game when Chucks voiced his displeasure of how the offense was playing.
And he had every right to do so.
Yeah, but Tomlin disciplined him for it. And that's when he started at right tackle, and he was the starting right tackle ever since. 10 starts at right tackle, 767 snaps, 4 sacks allowed. If I have it right here, I thought I had it here. Give me a second.
What are you looking for?
Like the pressures allowed. I thought I had it here.
Oh, you mean his total pressures all season?
Yeah, because I want to mention that. So 4 sacks allowed on 405 pass blocking reps, and he allowed 29 total pressures.
Wow.
So, and then that was all at right tackle.
Of course, it was all at right tackle.
I should say the majority of it was at right tackle.
Yeah, because he only started one game at left, which was like he stated versus the Ravens in Week 5, and he was an absolute stud. He was
28 total pressures at right tackle and 4 sacks at right tackle.
Yes.
So there you go.
Which we all know is his least best position at tackle. He is out of position when he's at right tackle. He played the last year and a half, back-to-back championship years with the Georgia Bulldogs, locking down the side for Stetson Bennett, the blind side for Stetson Bennett, at left tackle.
Yeah.
So the Steelers thought, hey, Chuck Okorafor said that Matt Canada sucks, that the offense is shit, just for us to fire him. But let's bench Chuck for being vocal on this inconsistent offense and put Broderick Jones at right instead of benching Dan Moore and putting Broderick at his natural position.
Yeah. That's what they decided to do.
They only put Broderick at left tackle because Dan Moore was hurt. I will never understand the Steelers' denial of Dan Moore. It frustrates the shit out of me.
Yeah.
What's it been, 3 years now?
3 years
now?
It wouldn't surprise me if they're going on 4. It really wouldn't, although they shouldn't.
Yeah, because Tomlin said at his end of season press conference, he said, I don't know where I want to put Broderick Jones.
He's unsure where he wants to put Broderick Jones. I think it's pretty obvious, Tomlin. I think put him in the position that you scouted him at.
He played left tackle for the last year and a half.
And he was a brick wall.
Dude,
over there.
0 sacks allowed.
He was a brick wall against the Ravens of all fucking teams.
Dude, against the Ravens.
Ravens led the NFL in sacks, bro.
And they put this
He
guy
didn't give
at
up
right
one.
tackle. They put this guy at right tackle. We all agree he needs to go back to left. Steelers need to draft a right tackle.
And listen, he was fine at right tackle. He was much better than Chuck's.
Yeah,
right?
because let's not get it twisted. Broderick Jones at left and at right showed you that he is better than Dan Moore and Chuck's at their natural positions.
Yeah.
Far and away was our best tackle, best lineman at that position.
No question.
Far and away. And there's no secret that when he came in, our rushing offense really started to get dominant and really consistent. And yes, that is why Broderick Jones was put at right tackle, because the Steelers schematically run a lot more to the right side than they do to the left. Chuck's as a lead block on the right, unsuccessful. Very poor. So that's why they put Broderick on the right side, because they run more to the right side. With Broderick as a lead block, it's a lot more successful. That's why they kept him there. But that doesn't mean you got to stick him and remain him at right tackle.
No.
That's going to mess up his progression. That's going to mess up his development. And it's just going to be another lineman.
That's playing out of position.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And we've had many of those.
Too many.
Many of those.
I think for a second year they need to put him back at left. I don't see Chuck's coming back, especially with his contract. I think they need to cut him, save whatever they can. Look at a different right tackle over there. Maybe draft one. I'm all for that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously
upcoming draft.
the popular names are Mims or Latham.
But Broderick in his rookie year,
Maybe Fuaga.
yeah.
Just saying, there's names out there.
Without a doubt. Broderick in his rookie year, especially at right tackle, or mainly at right tackle, he was fine. He was fine.
Yeah, I was pleased with his play at right
Now,
tackle.
there were times, I should say this, there were times, especially in the pass blocking, because he's still raw there, especially at right tackle. You know, there were times where he was beaten and, like, badly.
Yes.
You know, he was, I wouldn't say he was exposed, but it goes to show his pass protection is still a work in progress.
Well, the Steelers knew he was raw as a pass protector coming out of Georgia still, because his dominant trait was the run blocking. Again, that's why they put him at right. But when you know he's still raw and pass protection, why would you put him at right tackle? And that just really hurt his stance and his development as a pass protector, which is why he's got to move over to the left. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to automatically fix his protection and his inability to allow sacks, but he's a lot more functioned. He's a lot more accustomed and comfortable at left tackle. He'd still be raw as a pass protector, and unfortunately we still have Pat Meyer coming back as a line coach.
Yay.
Yay, and I don't like the development he's done for our linemen in recent years, because, I mean, O-line's still a fucking issue, and we're sticking with the same guy that's developing these guys, but I digress.
Yeah.
But you put him back at left. It's a no-brainer. It's the most obvious decision you can make all offseason. Let's move this guy back to left, draft a right, but even then, when he played right, he was still a stud. He showed a lot of potential. He was a great run blocker, one of the biggest pieces of why our run blocking was so efficient, why our rushing offense was so great, and I'd even say elite.
Yeah. Oh, it was definitely up there, especially toward the tail end of the end of regular season.
And easily our best tackle at any position. In his starts at left and at right, he showed you he's better than Dan Moore and Chuck's. Easily.
Yeah.
And that's why he's got to be moved back to left. Let's not fuck up his progression. Let's not screw up his development. Let's not mess up anything he's already been taught and he's already been learned. Move him back to left. He even said he's more comfortable. So just move him there. Why don't you listen to your fucking rookies?
Yeah. Put him back at their comfortable position and, as people would say nowadays, let him cook.
Yes.
So.
And he will cook. We call him the Broadfather, right? Because he's a dog.
Yeah. You know, you don't mess with Broderick.
And that's why heading into last year's draft, we were very vocal on getting a franchise left tackle.
Oh, dude, we were pounding the table. Almost every mock draft outside of one, which one was JPJ in the first round, but we still got him in the second.
Yeah.
But every mock draft we did, we had a left tackle as the first round pick.
Yes.
Because we were very vocal about getting a franchise left tackle because we knew Dan Moore was not the guy for that.
And we needed to protect the quarterback's blind side, and we need to fix this line. In fact, with the OC hire of Arthur Smith, we still got to fix the line.
Oh, no question about it. Center and right tackle.
But one of the best moves you can make is moving back to left. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Broderick, he's going to be a stud. I think he has all the tools to be a franchise left tackle. He's already a stud tackle. But let's move him back to where he's most comfortable, and let's get him going there. Let's get him going for the next 4 years as your franchise left tackle. Because that's a very underrated and important position on the offense and the entire offensive line. Is someone to protect that blind side and just function in that area. We have lacked that for years. Now we have a guy there. Put him there. I beg of you.
Mm-hmm.
I am pleading. Seriously. But if we had to give Broderick Jones a grade, I'm going to give him a B. Maybe even a B+. Because he was easily our best tackle. No matter where he was. He's our best tackle. Such an efficient run blocker. He showed glimpses in pass protection. Moving back to left, I think you'll see even brighter spots.
Yeah, I would say so too.
But because of where he was at, I don't put that all on him. That's not his fault. Just because he went back and forth in Georgia doesn't mean we can do that at the next level. He's more familiar on the left side. Steelers got to do that. So him and his flaws, I don't put entirely on him. I don't. His penalties or him being very raw, like you mentioned, in pass protection, I don't put that all on him because he was out of position.
Right. I would give him a B+. If I ever give him a grade for his one-star left tackle, that's A+.
Yeah.
He was perfect. Absolutely.
I haven't seen a left tackle that dominant in a while, and that was only one start.
That's all we need to see. Sometimes that's all we need to see.
That's what frustrates me.
At right tackle, I would give him a B+. He was fine there. He was very, very solid, I would say there. It's just, again, it's just not his natural position.
No, and the Steelers are doing him no favors. They're not doing themselves any favors by keeping him there. Just don't.
But in general, he was a big plus on that offensive line.
Yeah, he's a stud. I'd say he's going to be a great member on this O-line as we continue to build it, as we continue to add youth on there.
And yes, I will say he does showcase the flexibility to swing from left or to right. That's fine. But just keep him at left and let him remain there. Lock him down there.
I can see this being very much like a Tristan Wirfs situation where Wirfs was a great right tackle and then he moved to left and he's a great left tackle. Only thing is, Wirfs was a little more advanced in pass protection than Jones.
Yeah.
But I can see that being our Tristan Wirfs. Because I think that's Broderick Jones' ceiling, is he can be an elite lockdown left tackle. So put him there.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion on Broderick Jones' rookie year. But I'd say, I mean, he had a very good year. We cannot underestimate. We can't we can't forget or just completely disguise ourselves away from his flaws, but we put him in his natural position. I like to see what he can do there. He did that in one game, and it was phenomenal.
Big time.
No issues whatsoever, man. So let's put him back there. But Broderick Jones, the chat says they give him an A-.
Again, I see why they say that. The guy was one of our better offensive lines or linemen, especially at the tackle position. I can see why they say that.
Yeah, and most of these rookies, I don't want to give them too high of a grade because I don't want to overhype them. I want to try to give them room for improvement. I want to try to...
There's plenty of room for improvement.
I want to factor in their positions, their snap counts, the opportunities they got, what they did in those spots.
Yeah.
And that's where we graded a lot of these guys, and that's why we give some of these guys the grades that we gave them. And I think that's fair. You guys can choose differently. That's perfectly fine. Like that's in fact for some of it I see why you say that, and I don't entirely disagree, because these guys, man, like we said, some of these players, some of these rookies were the best in their respective positions.
Yeah, and they really shined. And I would say after a first year, after their rookie year, I would say that they lived up to their potential that Omar Khan sought in when he selected them.
Absolutely. And if we want to backtrack to some of the more recent draft classes, I would say this is the best first year from a rookie class we've seen since, I want to say maybe 2017, when we had Watt and Juju and Connor and Sutton.
Yeah.
But if you want to go more recent, maybe 2019, maybe 2020. Only because Claypool peaked in his rookie year.
Yeah. Dotson was good at right guard. Manka was a big part, too, if you want to count that. So, but, I mean, like...
Alex Highsmith.
Yes, of course. Can't forget him. So, yeah. In recent memory, I mean,
but
with this draft class...
But you consider these guys got more playing time. These guys got more opportunity.
Yeah.
So, I would probably say, like, if I had to... I don't want to compare, because, I mean, this draft class is already looking better than many of our more recent. Mm-hmm. But if I had to compare, I would probably say this is just as much as an efficient first year from a rookie class since... I would say 2017, maybe 2020. But I say 2017 because...
2017 more so.
Yes,
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Watt, of course. We saw what Juju did within his first couple years. Connor, of course, stepping in when Bell had his situation. You know, what those guys were able to do when they came in and had a certain impact to a degree, especially, you know, Watt with how he's done.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like with especially the first three picks and Broderick, JPJ, and Benton, I think they can be anchors and staple mates at their respective positions.
I agree. I see a lot of great reason to be excited for these guys' future. The future is bright. I still think this draft class can go down as one of the best, I'd say, in Steelers history, and there's been a lot of good ones. These guys have so much potential, so much hype around them, and they've delivered. They have delivered when they needed to. This draft class is looking really good, so shout out to Khan, shout out to Waddle, and yes, even Tomlin for making the decisions to bring these guys in, and they've been some of the highest highlights of this season. So
big time.
Shout out to them, and I'm looking forward to see how they can continue to grow in their rookie year and who we could even add for our draft class this upcoming year, because let's see if they can strike again with another home run class. Yeah. Because it's possible, and there's a lot of guys out there. Yeah. And the Steelers, man, they haven't even made many decisions yet. They've only focused on the coaching and the OC position. Restructures should be coming. Cuts should be coming. That will be in the coming weeks after the season. And the free agency will be right around the corner. We'll see who we can add, what holes we can fix. I mean, the offseason's only beginning.
Yes, it is.
And there's so much, you know, thinking. There's so much just thought around who we could bring in, what we could do. And obviously, we're going to break down most of it in the coming weeks, such as the cap casualties, who they should cut, who they should keep, and, of course, mock drafts to come.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, we're already starting on some draft scouts, and there's a lot of players we really like.
Yeah, and that Tomlin's actually been, you know, very involved in at Mobile.
Yeah, at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's still a lot to be excited about. So, with this draft class, I mean, I'd say, yeah. If we had to give it an overall grade, what would you grade this overall draft class after the first year?
Me? If I had to give it a grade, I'd give it an A-.
Okay.
Overall, an A-. You know, they were the rookies. They were some of the best parts of this past season. Like I said, they were diamond in the rough, highlights, standouts, really.
Right.
They were. When you look back at this past season, when you talk about it, I mean, you cannot bring up JPJ. You know, about what he did, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just how great the rookies were.
Oh, absolutely.
JPJ, Broderick, Benton, you know, they played an impact.
Yeah, they did.
They played an impact, and it was just a little teaser, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, these guys are only going to, you know, be full-time starters as we advance farther into their careers. Like, most of these guys, Benton, Broderick, Porter, they are going to be day one starters. They weren't last year. They will be this year.
Yeah. And like I said, you can't, when you look back at this season, you have to mention the rookies.
You do.
They were that big of a factor.
Yeah, because when you look back at the 2023 Steelers season, and you think of everything that went down, the high spots and the greatest moments came from the rookies. Yeah. You have to mention it. You have to bring it up.
And let's just see what these rookies can do. They can take this, or what they did in the rookie year, and then just bring it along for their second year, and hopefully more to come.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, Matt Nerdy says Khan's second season with the Steelers. Can't wait to see what he does. Yeah, he hit a home run in his first year with the free agent additions, the revamped linebacker room. We can't forget that, and the draft class. Let's see what he can do here, man. You know, he's a cap wizard. He's a good scout mind. He's got Weidl to work alongside for a second year as assistant GM. Man, there's some excitement to be felt heading into this offseason as we advance further into the fact that more moves will be coming. The moves will actually be starting, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting, man. The chat says A- when it comes to grading the Steelers 2023 draft class after year one.
Yeah.
So I would agree. I think we give it an A-. That's pretty solid after year one. I'm excited to see how we can view it in year two, in year three, in year four. It's already looking good. It's already looking promising. Let's see. I hope Artie can save Tomlin's career, but as it stands, the standard in the Steel City has rust on it, says Mark Lancaster. I don't disagree, Mark. I really don't. We'll see. We'll see what Artie can bring. I know he'll bring some change. He'll bring some new aspects to the offense that we've been wanting, we've been asking for. I just don't think it's the hire that they need to make because his vocal point is not what we need to advance at.
No. Like we brought him in to work on the one thing that does not need to be fixed.
Yeah.
And I get, I've been hearing, we don't have the personnel, we don't have the players to work on bettering a passing scheme and whatnot, but that's the problem. That's the problem. They're settling.
Why don't the Steelers aggressively
fix it? Why don't they pursue to fix it and go with the trend of the NFL nowadays?
Yeah, and give them the personnel.
Yeah.
So.
Like you stated, like when it comes to an OC change, the point of it is to fix the one thing that was not working the previous year.
The one thing that failed. And that's what they didn't do with this Arthur Smith hire.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just essentially the same basic concept with Arthur Smith in. And, if you think about it, I mean, like, that's what Matt Canada did, was focus on running the football. It was a run-first type of mentality. And I know that's what the Steelers have always based their success on. That's what got them, if not just the defense, it's definitely running the ball effectively. It's what got them championships and Super Bowls. But nowadays, that's not going to get you championships. At least it hasn't been the case for years. It's always been an aggressive and dynamic passing offense, and an aggressive passing offense. That's what you need to do nowadays in order to go far for a playoff run or go far for a Super Bowl run. When it comes to being a first team or a run first team type of mentality, yeah, you could have success. And I'm all for running the ball, but it only has a certain ceiling if that's your main mentality. You know what I mean? It's like with this OC position, I was kind of hoping the Steelers would be aggressive. And, when they first started, they kind of showcased that they kind of were. They were looking at the McVay tree and the Shanahan tree to a degree, or people connected to the Shanahan tree. And it's like they went with this guy with prior OC experience and knowledge, and it's like, well, that's the one guy we want to go with.
Well, they also go with the candidate the only candidate that had prior OC experience, which I understand is an upgrade over Canada.
And yes, it's an outside hire, and that's what we were preaching.
Everything that Arthur Smith brings will be an upgrade. I cannot disagree, but I just don't think it's the focal point thing because the two other guys that they interviewed. Thomas Brown is now a passing game coordinator for the Bears, and Gerard Johnson worked closely with Stroud, who had one of the best rookie seasons of any quarterback ever.
Yeah.
And those guys focus on the passing attack, which the Steelers are not. They remain to be out of touch.
Yeah.
I know that's what they've done their entire franchise's history, but again, that's
what I stated. That's what's gotten them championships. If not just the defense, it's definitely being an aggressive running football team. Yeah. But that was back in the day. This is now. And now there's only a certain ceiling. We could be aggressive at running the ball. We could be great at running the ball.
Oh, we will be.
But how far is it really going? Is it going to take us as far as we need to go, that we want to go?
I just don't think it's going to advance us any further offensively. I don't. And let's say for some reason the run game is shut down, or the opposing defense is able to slow down a rushing attack. I don't trust Arthur Smith to scheme up a passing game to bring us back.
Yeah, and
Even from
you
a
look at his
deficit.
history as not even as an OC for Tennessee and the rankings when it comes to passing for Tennessee. Even when Tannehill was at his peak, it still wasn't even that high. So even wasn't that great.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, we'll see what Arthur Smith can do. I mean, I'm still not feeling the hire. I don't know if I'll ever feel the hire. But he's an upgrade. I'll give him that. I just I don't know if it's the one that they need to make, but.
I mean,
We'll see what he can add.
And in the end, we have no choice but to give this guy a chance.
Oh, you that, and let's see what he can add. Let's see what the Steelers will add for him.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can bring. But at the same time, we bring in Arthur Smith, but remain with Pat Meyer and Mike Sullivan as their coaches.
Yeah.
As his under coaches.
Yeah.
It's like the same offense, same game plan all over again.
The only change is the OC is someone that's outside the organization, but everybody else is still the same.
Right. So with that,
listen, I don't feel good about that. I just don't.
I find it hard to see any advancement in the offense.
You're running with the same coaching group that you got on offense that overall wasn't successful. The only difference, again, is Arthur Smith, and he's from outside the organization. But
Right.
how much is he going to add to the same coaching staff that wasn't particularly good last year?
We'll just see what happens. We got to give it a chance, and we'll see what he can do for the Steelers, man. So if you want some optimism, we'll see what he's learned over the years.
Yeah.
It's been a while since he's been OC. Perhaps he's just a better OC than head coach. I mean, that's already proven. So we'll see.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
What's the chat saying about Presley Harvin? Harvin needs to go? Yeah, Harvin sucks.
No question.
Presley Harvin needs to go. Yeah, Turk says we need a punter as well. Harvin was not reliable. No, he sucks.
Very inconsistent.
Yeah, Presley Harvin's terrible. TJ Black says Power Johnson needs to be Steelers center. He would make up for missing on Creed and Linderbaum. Yes. Jackson Powers Johnson, I feel like, is very much in play for 20. He's a fucking stud.
I'm hearing his draft stocks increasing drastically.
And the thing is, centers aren't taken in the first round like you used to see.
But I don't know. Jackson Powers Johnson is making a strong, like Linderbaum was when he came out of college. Like, he's making a strong case for that.
Absolutely.
And I think that would be a mistake, especially if he's there at 20. It'd be a mistake to pass up on that.
Well, the Ravens took Linderbaum at 25 when we took Kenny at 20. Why can't we take a center in the first round? We have to. With Arthur Smith coming in, and he's going to run a lot of under center, a lot of I form, a lot of 12 personnel, a lot of play action.
Yeah.
We need a fucking center that can capably protect what we want to run.
Yeah. And that's an aggressive center right there, too.
So perhaps center is going to be a much more serious vocal point.
I hope so.
But with that being said, what do they do at right tackle? That scares me. That scares me that they're going to keep
They could look
there.
at free agency. I would have to look at the free agency pool when it comes to the right tackle position. Unless they just run with Dinmore at left tackle, Broderick at right tackle, I wouldn't do that. I'd be more aggressive with the offensive line. I wouldn't Band-Aid the situation again. No. I'd be aggressive and fix it and finalize the O-line finally. So I wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
The only thing you have to worry is maybe extending James Daniels because he's coming into his last year. But even that, like, it's a simple extension.
Yeah.
And that's a guy that's worth an extension. That's a guy you don't let walk.
No, absolutely.
So you take care of left tackle, you put Broderick back at left, you get a right tackle, free agency or the draft, whatever. Center, of course. I mean, you finalize the offensive line so you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Like it's settled finally after years of trying to fix it and take care of it.
Absolutely.
So
Joe Vlog says bring back Mason. I hope so. I feel like because I don't think Steelers are going to make a groundbreaking move at quarterback. I wish they would because they really need to. Kenny's not the answer. I'm sorry, but if they bring back Mason, I feel like he can be a serviceable, very solid option in Smith's system.
yeah, I mean he was able to do that under Canada's playbook.
Yeah,
He was able to do it under this current regime, this current system.
That alone exposed Kenny.
It did.
So under a better scheme in Arthur Smith, which again I will admit, I mean I think Mason could be a serviceable option for us.
He could be. I mean
He was already a serviceable option. He's our best quarterback.
He showcased that. And Tomlin and Rooney are very vocal about wanting to bring Mason back. It's all up to Mason if he decides to come back.
Yeah.
You know, there's bound to be other options. More so this offseason than last offseason for sure. based off his performance.
Right.
I do hope he comes back, and I would give him the opportunity. If you're going to give Kenny the opportunity to compete, you got to put Mason in there. Simple as that.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Kenny's not starting if Mason's back.
I don't think he should.
He'll be listed as a starter, but I don't think he's going to win it. There's no chance in hell.
I don't see it.
I'm telling you right now.
I don't see it.
If Mason walks and we bring in like a fucking Ryan Tannehill, which I fear,
I hope not.
like a Brissett or a Minshew or whoever the hell we want to bring in as a backup just to say, hey, here's Kenny's competition. Kenny's winning. Then Kenny's the starter. But if we bring back Mason, yeah, Mason's starting. There's no fucking question about it. Pat Pete needs to tackle something. I don't know, man. I think they're going to keep Pat Pete. I know he has a massive cap hit, and we'll discuss that in a later live stream, a later Steel Culture Podcast episode.
Yeah.
But I think they might extend him 1 year to split out his cap hit and move him to safety.
I think that's what they do. I think they switch him to safety full time. I hope they have an idea. They have a plan to get a better number 2 opposite of JPJ. Hopefully somebody free agency specifically.
Right.
I do think that they move him over full time to strong safety and experiment with that and give him at least another year extension just to see what he can do there.
Right.
And when he was there at safety, you know, he did look pretty solid. You know, he filled in with the plethora of injuries at the safety position.
He definitely played better.
And Tomlin is very vocal about that versatility aspect in him.
Yes.
And I think that's something with Peterson's leadership skills and his veteranship, his experience, and his versatility. That's something that Tomlin's going to want to keep on the defense. And
Yes.
I think that remains. And I do think that they put him at safety. And I'm not going to lie to you, I wouldn't be interested in seeing how he would be as a full-time safety. I would.
No, I don't.
You don't?
I'm a
I would.
Hard disagree.
I would. Why not?
I don't want him as a full-time safety. You mean starting?
I think he's a starter.
Fuck no.
If they extend him and move him to full-time safety, he's a starter.
Nah, man, he's Casey.
That's just the way I see it.
Man, he's Casey. He's a better Casey. He's a versatile piece. I don't want him to start.
Listen, I'm not saying he's going to be great. I'm not saying he's fantastic. He's not. But I'm not going to lie. I would be interested to see how he is as a safety. Or what he does at safety.
Not at his age. Not at his age.
That's just me, though. That's just me. Listen, I get why you're kind of skeptical about
I'd rather
that.
bring back Edmonds or bring in Antoine Winfield Jr. because the Bucs have too many fucking players to choose from who they want to keep.
I mean, I'm not going to say no to Antoine Winfield Jr.
Tomlin coached his daddy.
That's right. Yeah,
Bloodlines.
back when he was a defensive coordinator for the Vikings, you know? They could do that.
That's a
If they
pipe
want to
dream.
pay him that much money, because Winfield had a hell of a year. He had a great
He's
year.
one of the best safeties. He would fit perfectly in our scheme,
So hypothetically speaking, say we bring in Winfield, he's a strong safety, make his back a free safety. Maybe they keep Peterson back at cornerback as a number 2.
No.
But they extend him to split the cap.
No, he's the third. He's the third safety in the 3 safety sets. Not Casey, not Neal. It's Peterson.
Well, then who's the number 2 then?
Number 2 who?
Corner.
Corner?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they signed somebody. Snead. I really like Sean Murphy Bunting. I think he's a solid option.
I could see that.
Kendall Fuller.
Listen,
Here, we're already talking free
listen.
agents.
I don't think. I don't think.
I know everyone's going to throw out Corey Trice. Slow down. Slow down. His injuries concern me. He's a 7th round pick. Let's slow down there. Let's get him started as the next James Pierre first.
Let me just say this. When it comes to free agency, I don't think the Steelers go aggressive. They never do. They go aggressive in signing names, but no big marquee names. That's what I'm saying.
Fucking better.
They should. They need to get out of their comfort zone and be aggressive, especially if they're still trying to pursue a championship, if they still think that they can win a championship.
Well, then you better stack the defense, and you better...
But that's where they need to come up with the cap space. That's where Khan needs to do his magic. He needs to work his magic and make some cap space to get a guy like a Antoine Winfield Jr. or a Jalen Johnson, L'Jarius Sneed, to get marquee guys on the secondary so the secondary's good. And then you can put Pat Pete and use his versatility however you want.
Right.
You could limit him with his age. You could do that.
Well, I'm keeping his knowledge, but I'm keeping his versatility there as a safety in the slot.
While adding the marquee names.
Yes.
They can do that if they desire to.
That's how you strengthen the defense.
That's what they should do.
You're not paying a quarterback. You're not making a move at a quarterback. You clearly don't trust Kenny. That's why you got Arthur Smith, because he has a quarterback-friendly system, so you don't have to lean so much on Kenny. You got all the fucking cap space in the world to lean on the defense, because you still think defense and running the football is going to win you championships. So you might as well put all the fucking money in the bank to stack the defense. You better be aggressive in the secondary. I'm just saying. I know they won't, but fucking hell. I'm going to dream.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But I see Pat P moving full-time to safety. And you may not be up for it, but I'd be interested to see. If it bombs, it bombs.
Strong safety?
Well, where else is he going to be? Maker's not strong safety.
Well, no shit. But, I mean, the way he's playing, he might as well. But you don't want to move him there. That's terrible.
Well, you're going to keep him. You're going to keep him outside.
Peterson, no, strong safety is supposed to play in the box. You're supposed to play the run, right? Like Evans did.
Yeah, I know.
Peterson can't tackle. He can't play strong safety.
Well, where is he going to be? He's going to be.
He's the third safety in the safety sets.
Yeah, but paying him that much money, they're not going to limit him in that aspect. Even if they extend him and split the cap.
Well, they would just run a lot of 3 safety sets. They run a lot of dime.
I mean, they could do that.
They run a lot of dime.
They could do that. I mean, they kind of did that with Minka, KZ, and Keanu Neal when all of them were healthy.
They would just run a lot of dime. Yeah, Eric Rowe. How can I forget Eric Rowe?
How can we forget Eric Rowe? I mean, the guy was...
Trenton Thompson.
Yeah.
He was a stud.
Yeah, those guys came in with the injuries, and they made plays. So it's like, I mean, listen, I mean, like, they got names that they can work in there. And they got the guys with the versatility that they can work in there.
Absolutely.
It's up on who they want to go with, who they want to play in there, who they want to experiment. Or they could just be downright aggressive and look for a lockdown safety. Or safety to lock down that starting position.
That's what I would do. You can't go with these rentals like you did with Neal and Casey last year. It was terrible.
No, I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie. I mean, that's annoying. Having to go with these rentals, I mean, like, you're just band-aiding the situation.
Like
you're just biting... Like, You're getting these rentals when you have to address position years down the line.
Yeah, because they knew that strong safety was still going to be a position they had to fix because they let Evans walk.
Yeah, listen, although I'm interested in Peterson as a safety, you still got to look at a long-term solution because Peterson ain't going to be here another, 4 years.
That's why Peterson is that rotational guy.
Yeah. I would like the Steelers to be aggressive at the safety position, whether it's free agency or the draft could be safety could be a dark horse selection in the draft.
Yeah,
really could be.
Probably,
I mean, there's from what I've seen, there's certain names out there that they could pick.
Probably day 2. I'd say day 2 for sure. But I don't know. If the Steelers draft an edge this year, I'd love to see us get Chop Robinson from Penn State. Yeah, he'd be a stud, but we're not going to draft edge. Edge is probably at the bottom of our list of need.
Yeah, I
I don't know if Marcus Golden's going to be back because he only signed a 1-year deal, but why wouldn't he be back? Unless they want to play Nick Herbig more, but play Nick Herbig more.
Just play both.
Yeah.
I mean, even at Golden's age, he was pretty solid. In the reps he was in, he did very well.
Right.
So, I bring Golden back and just keep the edge depth that we have and just get them more involved.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Maybe with one of their later picks, they want to just throw in an edge piece just for, give them an opportunity.
They could do that.
So I don't know. But I don't see them attacking edge this year. It's not very necessary. Not necessary at all. I mean, we already got our edge pieces confidently, thankfully. Wait, what's this?
What?
Something about Arthur Smith says something about Kenny Pickett.
Okay. Is this something you see on X?
This is something I see on Twitter, yeah.
X.
Let's see.
That's X.
Okay, so this is via Brian Batko on X.
Okay.
He posted a little clip here on what advantages or disadvantage there may be going up against Steelers rookie quarterback Kenny Pickett. This is what Arthur Smith had to say.
That's right, because Pickett did play the Falcons his rookie year.
Yeah, he said, he's played a good number of snaps. Obviously, you've seen Monday night when they were able to get a lead and keep it balanced. He's a very smart player, so you can see that growth. There's a lot of things that's happened, and I think the thing that goes unnoticed is how different these pockets are from college. That's the thing you never can replicate in practice. That's where the game is so different. The amount of time and pressure players that you have in this league and how condensed these pockets are with people at your feet all the time. How do you adjust? It's easy to throw when no one is at your feet. That's where the game is so much different, in my personal opinion, from college to the NFL. That's what he had to say about Kenny Pickett. So I guess he's praising him on his pocket adjustment. I don't know what he's seeing because there's no pocket adjustment this year.
No. There were glimpses his rookie year, but his second year, I mean, I don't know where that went.
I don't know either.
And if I remember correctly, during the draft, what was it, 2022 draft? Kenny was a rookie. I know the Falcons were looking at quarterback because Matty Ice went to the Colts, I believe.
Yeah.
So they were looking for a quarterback. And I know for a fact Arthur Smith, I should say, was scouting Kenny Pickett. He elected to go with Ritter in, the third round, something like that.
Right.
So Smith definitely scouted and looked at Kenny Pickett, without question.
Oh, 100%.
So it's like he kind of has an idea of what to work with Kenny, at least, when it comes to scouting him. But now that he's going to be working under him, or Kenny's going to be working under him, I should say, I mean, I don't know how that's going to bode well. I don't know how that's really going to gel based Arthur Smith's, style.
I don't know.
How he's aggressive in the run game, but passing game, he doesn't really know.
Well,
he's not really good at scheming up a passing game.
Let me just say this. Adding Arthur Smith is less about developing Kenny. It's about keeping the ball out of Kenny's hands. It's taking as much off of Kenny. It's not about developing Kenny. If that was the case, they would have hired like a Gerard Johnson or a Thomas Brown who work in the passing game.
Yeah.
They went with the guy that's won first.
They would have been more aggressive at trying to obtain those type of people.
Yeah, this is not about developing Kenny Pickett. It's not.
So pretty much what you're saying is they know Kenny's not it.
But they have to go with him because, hey, we already invested the first round.
They don't want to admit that they overdrafted him. They know he's not it, but they don't want to admit, hey, we screwed up.
That's what I feel. That's what I'm thinking. They're inadvertently saying it.
But it's just so stupid. Like, if you know the guy's not it, just admit that you messed up.
Well, it's the same thing. They knew Broderick was raw in pass protection, so they put him at right where he's unnatural.
Or Kendrick Green.
Kendrick Green.
Yeah, he's an undersized guard. You put him at center, and he's like, well, we're going to experiment. We're going to throw him out there.
Either they're delusional in many areas, or they're just, I don't know.
Stubborn.
One of the two.
I think that's the right word to say. Is very stubborn.
Well, we got a $20 super chat from R. Barley 18. Appreciate you, my boy.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you.
Says, I've been a Steelers fan for 38 years. Never missed a game. If Kenny Pickett is the quarterback to start the season, I'm done until he's gone.
Wow.
He's shown nothing. Don't try the comeback crap either. If he didn't stink, no comeback needed. I couldn't agree more. Most of the comebacks are because he couldn't step up in the first three quarters. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling he will be the starter. If this is what my gut feeling is telling me. And most times my gut feeling is right when it comes to the Steelers, so I'm sticking with it. If Mason is back, he's a starter. There's no way Kenny's being him out. If Mason is not back, Kenny's the starter. Because the Steelers aren't going to make a massive move.
It's hard to disagree. Based off what Tomlin and Rooney have stated, I mean...
And I think that's pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
Because even with Mason, if Mason comes back, they should still try to grab the guy for the future.
They need to bring true competition.
Yeah.
A guy that they can get in there and force these guys and show these guys how much they want it.
Bring in someone to challenge both.
Yeah, they really could do that.
They could take a quarterback mid-round. Day 2, early day 3, if someone drops.
Yeah.
I don't hate that idea at all.
No, I don't.
I don't hate that at all. I mean, that's going to come with draft talk, but I mean, did you see my take on trying to get Bo Nix? I'm not a fan of Bo Nix. Not a fan of Bo at all.
I haven't really looked into him much. I'm not going to lie. I know when it comes to the draft process, we're going to have to do our research and see how these guys are going to do.
I know everyone's going to throw out Michael Phoenix as well. Michael Phoenix is definitely a project, which if you look at the Steelers quarterback room, that's what they're going to have to work with is a project.
Yeah.
Michael Phoenix would have to be taken day 2 if they want him because he's not a first rounder no more. Not after the
No,
championship
that national
game.
championship showed he's not a first rounder.
Not after he flopped. Not after he couldn't handle the pressure. And he doesn't really attack the middle of the field, which reminds me a lot of Kenny.
Yeah.
And I know most of that had to do with Matt Canada's scheme. No matter who the quarterback was, they just never attacked the middle of the field. But even still, there's just no intermediate area with that. And I don't want to... That's one of his flaws. That's one of his concerns with me heading into the NFL for Michael Phoenix.
Right.
But he's going to be a project, no doubt. But you also got to consider he's around Kenny's age, or he's going to be around Kenny's age, and he's had all these injuries.
That's right. He does have a...
He has like 2 seasons.
He has a bad resume of injuries. Like, is that that's a red flag right there? The Steelers really want to carry that red flag?
Yeah, so looking at that, I mean, Phoenix is going to be a project. I don't hate it, but he's definitely going to be a project.
Unless he can really shine out at the combine or his pro day.
Well, I'll be keeping a close look.
If he can shine out, then be like, okay, maybe we'll be more open up to him. But just at the moment, it's like we're a little hesitant on the idea.
Either the Steelers are going to have to trade up for a quarterback in the draft, like a May, like a Jaden Daniels, who I really like.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Or they would have to find someone day 2, mid-round, and develop him. Like, I know everyone throws out the name Jordan Travis. That's not a bad idea.
Could do that.
It's not a bad idea.
Was he from Florida State?
I think.
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of research into him. From what I saw, though.
Again, we're going to have to do more research, especially at the quarterback position, because that's a position that I know the Steelers are going to do their due diligence on, or at least they should.
But
and I mean like true aggressive due diligence.
Yeah. But at the same time, us talking about it, I just know they're not going to make an aggressive move. So it's like, is there a point in talking about it?
I mean, everything they said about Kenny, the confidence, and he's a starter, although he needs competition, everything that they've been stated, all signs point to, yeah, he's the starter.
When they say competition, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. What is their definition of competition?
It's kind of hard to figure that out. Their definition of competition. It's kind of hard to believe everything they say. As much as we want to and hope that there will be change, I mean, it's hard to take what they say to heart.
They are not trading Najee Harris. They just signed an offensive coordinator that prioritizes running the ball. They are not getting rid of the running back that's had 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. It's not happening.
And Tomlin said that Najee's been everything that we expected him to be.
No.
So you can pretty much expect them to exercise the 5th-year option.
They should.
And they should. I don't hate it whatsoever.
They should exercise it, and they should sign him to a team-friendly deal.
Yeah.
Or him and Warren are going to stick together.
Keep those two together.
And at some point, Warren is going to take Najee snaps, and Najee's going to take Warren snaps. It's just rotating, swapping their snaps. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Najee sees the majority of them. Warren's the complimentary. I think that can be reversed as Najee gets older.
Right.
But signs an extension, because I think that's coming. Najee deserves it, and I think we all appreciate Najee a little more now.
Yeah, I just don't see Tomlin letting Najee walk. I mean, he took a first-rounder on him, and Najee has been very productive.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Bush, where he was an absolute bust. Or it's not like Burns, where he was an absolute bust.
Or every other draft pick that just didn't pan out.
Yeah.
That wasn't good.
Like Kenny, he's not getting resigned. He's not.
Are you kidding me?
He's
No.
Edmonds, there was natural progression. He got resigned to only 1 year.
Yeah.
Najee, he's been a very productive running back.
Yeah.
He's coming off, in my opinion, his best season. He had a great finish.
Strong finish at that.
The Steelers are going to absolutely accommodate him with a nice contract.
Yeah.
I hope they don't overpay him because of his position, because that's just truth there.
Yeah.
But with the way they are directing the offense and how they want to run it, yeah, they're going to keep Najee. And as long as he keeps producing, he should remain with the team.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to. So that's how I feel there. But with that being said, man, I mean, it's cool to just chit-chat about all these certain things, because these are all things that are going through my mind as we discuss and look further into the Steelers offseason.
Yeah.
And there's so many topics we want to hit home with, which, like we said, is the cap casualties, who they should keep, and, of course, mock drafts, which are coming.
Yeah.
And we got to start doing extra research on some of these players and the positions the Steelers need to fix. I will definitely let you know right now, and you guys kind of already knew this, in our first mock draft, the first pick will no doubt, unquestionably be an offensive lineman. Has to be. Has to be.
I think every mock draft I've seen has been offensive lineman round one.
It has to be.
Whether it been tackle, center, whatever.
It has to be. You could argue corner.
And with the,
what else? Safety, maybe?
Nah, I feel like corner you could sign a guy. Safety, maybe. Unless they have Pat Pete go up there. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you guys would agree. Let's sign a corner so we ain't got to worry about it in the draft. Let's sign a veteran corner.
And bringing in Arthur Smith and going with what they're going with, being run first team, yeah, you got to prioritize offensive line. Why wouldn't you?
Of course.
Why wouldn't you?
It's still our biggest need. In fact, the scheme and this signing of Arthur Smith is really going to come at the backs of the offensive line. So,
yeah.
Keep that in check. Keep that in check.
Of course.
Otherwise, yeah, I think we're gonna call that it for episode 45 of the Steeler Culture Podcast. We appreciate every last one of you for joining us this afternoon on a Thursday afternoon, discussing the Steelers 2023 rookies and grading their each individual rookie seasons, and pretty much grading the rookie class after 1 year, man. But as we know, it's looking bright. It's looking good. I think we feel very confident about this draft class after 1 year. It's looking great. Otherwise, now that we got the OC position out the way, maybe more coaching hires are coming. Now that we got this video out the way, thanks to your guys' engagement in the chat, as the final grade for the draft class is an A-. 50%ians say it's an A- grade. So there you have that.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I mean, we got those two topics, got those two podcast episodes out the way. Now let's focus on the actual offseason and the moves that need to be made. And I'm very excited to dig into it and to just research what the Steelers could do to better this team and better their cap situation. As it is not good right now, but with literally 3 moves, they can be in the positive numbers.
And I think the moves are pretty obvious.
Yeah, it'll be pretty obvious.
Just look at the people that are no longer starters. There you go.
Exactly. I mean, we're going to discuss all of it in a later podcast episode, so stay tuned for that. Appreciate every last one of you. You guys have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week.
Make it a strong one. Make it a strong finish as we are headed toward the weekend. There's no football. Is there football this weekend? Not NFL football.
The Pro Bowl game.
Oh, I ain't watching that.
No
Are you
one's
kidding
watching
me?
that. Yeah, I want to watch millionaires play dodgeball. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I want to see Gardner Minshew throw a football. Are you kidding me?
No one's watching the Pro Bowl. Let me just tell you right now, no one's watching the Pro Bowl.
So we got to wait a week till the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But make it a strong finish. Make it a good one.
Hey,
and,
we're already in February. January is past us. We'll see you next year.
Oh, God.
Already.
All we did was blink, and it's February 1st.
Hey, before we know it, free agency will be here. Before we know it, the draft will be here. Before we know it, Jackson Powers Johnson will be a Steeler.
Fingers crossed.
Just saying.
Cross everything you got.
But, yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. And happy February. Let's make it a strong one. Here we go, Steelers.
As always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace! Future!
The hell was that?
It was my impression of Squidward saying future, because I'm looking at the future right now.
I mean, you're not lying there.
Look at those studs. Look at those guys, huh? Yeah. Yeah, buddy.
The Broadfather, JPJ, the Triple B baby, and the stud.
I like that.
Boom.
I like that.
And can't forget Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Can't forget Bigfoot.
Yeah. I didn't have room for him in the thumbnail.
Oh, he's too big.
He is too big.
He's too big.
He's too big.
He's a big dude.
Yeah. But, yeah, buddy. That's the draft class. Shout out to King Khan. Wait a minute, is the NFL Honors on tonight?
No, I think is that the Thursday for the Super Bowl?
Wait. Oh, yeah, it's next week.
Yeah.
Fuck, never mind.
You're thinking a week ahead.
Yeah, I'm way ahead of myself.